This conference will now be recorded.
Easy emini trade, and I wanted to show you guys how you can decide if you want to take a breakdown or breakout trade. And we actually had a really nice one this morning. It looks like if you were trading this afternoon, you may have had a couple other really awesome opportunities. I was not trading this afternoon, so I'm just going to show you what I did this morning, and hopefully you can take this info and apply it to how you like to trade and what you like to trade.
This conference will now
So
be
this is the
recorded.
NQ, and I'm just going to show you what I was looking at on a 5-minute chart. So here's this morning. We were, basically trading back and forth from an all-time high on the NQ this morning when the market opened. We had already had a new all-time high, and then on the bounce here, we had an all-time high. So we just were trading back and forth. So we did, a few divergence trades in the room this morning and so forth. So just, back and forth, taking what we could as long as our plan allowed it. But I want to show you this. This is a 5-minute chart, like I said. And generally what I'll do is I'll look for some of these tails. And so you can see on this 5-minute bar right here how we have this tail. And I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so hopefully you can see it. And what this is telling us is that the sellers pushed this all the way down to a support area, and then the buyers pushed it all the way back up. And what you can look for, if in this instance, you can see the body of the candle is more towards the upper end of the candle here. So what that's telling us is that if buyers bought this previously at this level of approximately 62.75, where would they likely put their stops? Under this candle, likely, right? So in looking over here at the volume at price on the far left, this green and red that you see is telling us the volume at each price level. And so when you get an area where it's open like this, I'm going to just mark them so you can see. So right here, you can see this general area right here where this big volume node is heavy here down to 61.50. And then you can see the next area where it comes down to where it becomes heavy again is down here, and I'm going to mark that so you can see it, and that's at 44.25. Now you can see right in this area here around 48.50, you can see this volume node is jutting out a little bit, but this is definitely the general area where we have the highest volume. Now I'm going to mark this area right here, so that's around 50. Right here where you can see this volume node starting to get a little bit full here. So in looking at this, what this would tell me is that right here where we have this distance between 61.50 and 50, and I think at the time we might have had a little volume around 55 as well. So I was interested in shorting this area for the reasons mentioned, because if the buyers pushed it up, they would be using protective sell stops under the general area of the low of this bar here. So I had put an order in for a sale under this area, so if it broke down, the likelihood would be that it would be sucked down to the next high volume area. So like I said, I think at the time it was 55, and then next area would be 50, next area would be 44, etc., like all the way down. So I'm going to just show you on the actual chart that I took the entry, but like I said, the heads up was on the 5-minute chart. I would not pay too much attention to those topping tails and bottoming tails on a small chart like a 1-minute or 2-minute. I would focus more on the larger charts. So if you see it on a 15-minute chart, that has a little bit more weight than a 5-minute. If you see it on a 30, more weight than a 15, etc. So here's my entry chart. And I think at the time I was looking at it still on a 4-range chart because it was pretty mellow leading into the breakdown. It's definitely picked up a lot of whippiness since then, but at the time I could trade off the 4-range chart. So the area that I mentioned was right around 61. So I'm just going to put a line here, that 61.50 area off, or let's just say 61 for the sake of argument, just to make it round. There we go. 60, 75, whatever. So I had my order sitting under, a couple ticks under the low of this bar, right? And
This
the low of this
conference will
bar,
now be recorded.
so I had my order sitting a couple ticks under that. And then when it broke down right here, I was hoping it would be quickly sucked down. So I had to sit through a little bit of a retracement here. And then obviously it broke down. It traded to the 55, traded through the 50% retracement area here, and then down to the next area of support. And so hit the first target of 20 ticks, and then I had some left that I could trail. So you could use your target areas and just have an order sitting there to take you out of the trade, or you can use a couple ticks above or below, in this case above the regular super trend stop, and trail accordingly. And so realistically, you could erode this all the way down to the 39 and change area before it broke and closed above the super trend stop here. Now, generally, I don't take breakdowns in that way. The only reason was the only reason that I was interested is, like I said, because of this gap between these two big high volume areas. I was willing to give it a shot. Now, normally what I would do if that wasn't as large of an opening, I would let price try to break down like it did here. So it tried to break down, and then it traded right back up to the area of resistance. And then I would mark under this low area here where it failed to go lower. And then you could put an order in just under that failed area, and then away you go. So that's generally how I like to do it. But like I said this morning, I felt confident that it would be pulled down to support, and then the next area of support. And then anything below this 48 was just way more than we bargained for. And sometimes you get lucky like that. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions in doing breakdowns or breakouts, feel free to send me an email. And I hope that you find the information helpful. Okay, chat with you later.